Refugees welcome, right? Turns out, no, not if they're white. Trump welcomed 49 white Afrikaner refugees from South Africa, and they all lost their tiny minds. Not your traditional refugee exodus. Oh no, actual women and children. Real families. And not entirely military-age men. Or gangbangers with MS-13 tattoos on their knuckles. Refugees welcome! Same guy who tweeted that, by the way, tweeted this. What wine pairs best with white genocide? Call me crazy here, but I'm starting to suspect that they just hate white people.
Now, if the Constitution in South Africa is discriminatory, they have their checks and balances in that land just like we do. And that is for them to, so if the Afrikaners don't actually like the land, they can leave that country.
They are. They're leaving to come here.
No, they can
These
leave
refugees
and go,
are coming here.
They can actually leave and go to where their native land is, which is probably Germany.
Oh yeah, it's probably Germany, even though they're of Dutch descent. But whatever, they're white, so she doesn't want a handful of them getting anywhere near America. Those millions of Mexicans, Guatemalans and Venezuelans who entered the US illegally under Biden, though, come on in.
Part of that is that the people who are native to that land deserve their rightful land back. That is not what the Afrikaners actually want to have happen, which are the white Africans, and so who are not originally from Africa, who colonized South Africa.
White Afrikaners have been in South Africa for 400 years. Apparently that's colonization. Millions of North Africans and Middle Easterners entering Germany, Sweden and England over the course of a single decade, well, that's cultural enrichment. Fleeing a genocide by calmly queuing at the airport. Comedy. I know, how dare they act all civilized. Love the implication here that they're not real refugees because they don't act like this. Talk about the bigotry of low expectations. Wow, these South African refugees really look like they've been suffering a lot. I know, right? They've got luggage from the same people who'll chastise you for asking why refugees coming from France arriving in England are wearing designer clothing and carrying the latest iPhone. 75% of these refugees are overweight. I can definitely see that life was extremely difficult under the Black Rule. I mean, yeah, the whole being under constant threat of torture and murder may not be ideal, and only some have been murdered.
The Afrikaner farmers are not suffering from that. It is true that some have been murdered.
8 out of the 10 stages of genocide having already happened in South Africa might cause a few sleepless nights. Whole stadiums full of one of the biggest political parties in South Africa calling for them to be exterminated.
Kill the poor! The farmer! Kill the poor!
Maybe he doesn't mean shoot.
Farmer!
Oh.
Is that the Super Bowl?
And then top African courts ruling it to be legitimate speech might be a bit of a concern, but isn't the fact that they managed to eat more important? Ever feel like you're stuck in a bad habit that you don't even think about? Maybe it's something you reach for during stressful moments, while hanging out with friends or just out of boredom. I've been there. That's why I was excited to try Fume, the award-winning flavoured air device. And honestly, it's been a game changer. Fume, the sponsor of today's video, isn't just another vape, e-cig or nicotine product. It's something totally different. A simple, satisfying way to replace bad habits without inhaling anything harmful. No smoke, no vapor, no nicotine. Just natural flavoured air that gives you something to reach for without the chemicals. Sometimes breaking a bad habit isn't just about willpower. It's about having something better to reach for instead. Fume gives you that alternative. Fume has a magnetic, fidget-friendly design that keeps your hands busy and your mind engaged. No cables, nothing to charge, and you can use it anywhere. All at a fraction of the cost of smoking or vaping, and their flavours are actually really good. My personal favourite is still spearmint ice, but there's tons of options from citrusy to refreshing to earthy. Over 500,000 people have already added Fume to their daily routine, and I totally get why. It's simple, satisfying, and doesn't come with any of the downsides of vaping or smoking. And right now, if you order the Journey Pack using my code PJW, you'll get a free Fume topper. So if you've been thinking about changing your habits, this is the perfect first step. Just go to tryfume.com/PJW or scan the QR code on screen to grab yours today.
Because in Africa, you have a murderous tyrant like Ramaphosa, and then the primary opposition
is a would-be murderous communist. And so the alternative to the government policy of seizing land of white people, of erasing any history that involves white people in that country, the alternative to that is this Malema character.
But we are starting with this whiteness. We are cutting the throat of whiteness. It cannot. Shoot to kill. Yamaza. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer.
But wait, the media told me he's just a radical agenda setter. Now the South African government has come out and said that any of the 49 refugees who tries to return will be stripped of their citizenship and face official discrimination, thereby proving why they needed to flee in the first place. And literally 5 minutes after they set foot on US soil, the legacy media is monstering them as descendants of white supremacists.
Yes, it's so deeply and morally wrong-headed and repulsive. These are the descendants of the people who created the most diabolical system of white supremacy in human history, apartheid.
A mere 49 white refugees enter America and the whole refugees welcome crowd goes full mask off.
They got this big celebration, and these are the only, white African descendants of apartheid, the European colonialists, or those who participated in apartheid. They're of all ages, including children.
South Africa says that the allegations about persecution of these people, the allegations are false, according to the South Africans. What
is the South African government really persecuting the Afrikaners? No, of course not. Source: the South African government. The Episcopal Church ended its refugee partnership with the US government because it would violate their moral line. Their moral line being, don't help anyone if they're white Christians. Wrong type of refugee. Biden can drop half of Haiti into Ohio, but 60 white refugees from a state that sings about murdering them is a scandal. Borders are just lines in a map. MF as when refugees are white people. Why are the people with refugees welcome signs on their houses so upset about refugees from South Africa? What could it be? Importing brown welfare recipients? Importing white working class families? One more plane full of refugees like this and the lib white boomer ladies will be bombing DHS officers and building a mile-high border wall. Mexicans who've been in the US for 3 generations. Afrikaners who've been in the US for half an hour. Yeah, something tells me these folks might integrate a bit better. And that's probably what shit libs are afraid of. The comparative threat of a good example.
So the Trump administration, they're saying that essentially these white South Africans assimilate better and they're also not as much of a security risk. That's really causing a lot of people to be appalled, frankly.
What are they afraid of? Higher property prices and lower crime. POV, Afrikaners move to your town. And isn't it worth it anyway for the diverse new food options? They've forgotten that the word refugee was supposed to be a cynical cover for third world lumpenproles seeking state benefits. And now they just think that's what the word means. The face has grown to fit the mask. Their government is stealing their land because they're white. Families are being murdered while the government cheers because they're white. And now the American media is telling them they're not real refugees because they're white. If you value what I do and you want to help support me, please visit pauljosephwatson.locals.com and either pledge a one-time donation or subscribe to join my community, get early access videos, and message me directly. And exclusive live streams coming soon too. Promise. Check out the Locals link down in the description. And don't forget to take a look at the brand new website, modernity.news. That's where you'll find all my content, including exclusive articles. That's modernity.news.